Hey guys, this week we have a review of the Wuhan 18-inch Chinese crash cymbal. We also have a viewer's question regarding low price but good sounding small diaphragm condenser microphones. And lastly, I'll take you into Pro Tools and show you how to use Solo Safe. All that's coming up here on episode 75 of Limitless Studios TV.
Alright guys, this week we are going to be doing a review on a drum cymbal. I think this is the first time we've ever done anything like this. This is a Wuhan, hopefully you can read that, 18-inch Chinese crash cymbal. Yep. And these things are extremely inexpensive. This one was only about $45.
Yep.
And you can get them from 12 inches all the way up to 22 inches.
Yep.
So you can get them huge.
They also have an 18-inch one with rivets as well.
Yes. When we first got this, and you first get it, if you decide to buy one, you're going to notice that the quality is sort of lacking. The build quality, that is. They say it is handmade in China, but it's not very well handmade.
Yeah.
But we heard really good things about the sound quality. And as you're going to hear, these things actually sound really good. But it comes quite dirty. There's smudge marks all over it. It's not equally hammered around at all.
Yeah, it's like warped.
The center of it isn't even polished. And the actual place where you connect to the mic stand is not completely centered in the middle of the cymbal. So the build quality is a little bit lacking, but for $45, I guess it's to be expected.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to go ahead and go into some clips because this thing sounds really good.
The first one will be completely raw, nothing on it at all. Mm-hmm. And then we'll also have a clip with the rest of the drum kit in it, and one is processed. And we'll talk a bit about that one in a minute. But I guess we'll go ahead and listen to the first raw clip. All right, so as you can tell there, these Wuhan Chinas have a really nice attack and decay to them, unlike some of your more expensive Chinese cymbals, which basically just sound like glorified crash cymbals. They've got like a real long decay. So we actually prefer the sound of these Wuhan Chinas over the more expensive ones. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go ahead and go into a processed full drum mix. It's just the China crash. We don't have any other crash cymbals or anything like that. And we added a little reverb to the China crash, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we added any EQ, maybe a high pass filter, but other than that, pretty much nothing. And the drums are Stephen Slate drums. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the full drum mix, and then we'll come back and answer our viewer question.
So if you couldn't tell, we highly recommend this cymbal. You can get them really, really cheap. The 12-inch one is pennies, basically. So for a Chinese crash, that's probably our most highly recommended one.
Yep.
So this week's viewer question is going to be about more drum stuff, actually.
Yep.
We actually had a question about some low-priced small diaphragm condenser microphones to be used as overheads.
That actually sound good.
Yeah. And these are going to be, or the pair we picked out are the
MXL 603s.
Yes, that's right.
They come in a stereo pair, and they're about anywhere from $150 to $200 or so. So they're pretty inexpensive, yet they sound really good. Mm-hmm. I think they're actually based off the Neumann KM84s or something like that. And from what I hear, they come pretty close to the same sound. And you can get them for somewhere around $200, so they're excellent.
Yes, and they also come in a pretty good case, actually.
Yeah, nice looking case.
With shock mounts, so it's a really good deal for the money.
Yep, and then if you have a little bit higher budget, say around $500 or so, you can get some Octava MK012s. Those are very nice considering the price. And some people say they actually sound better than the Neumann mics, so check those out as well if you have that kind of budget.
Yep. And I think that's going to do it. You're going to have a software tip coming up.
I'm going to have a software tip in Pro Tools on how to use SoloSafe.
Yep.
All right, so here we are inside of Pro Tools, and I'm going to explain how to use SoloSafe inside of Pro Tools today. Basically, SoloSafe is when you have something solo-safed, and you can solo-save something by hitting Command and clicking on the solo button on any of your auxiliary tracks or instrument tracks or audio tracks. And once you solo-save something, that track is going to be always solo throughout the whole project. And the easiest way to explain this is kind of showing an example. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the snare. We're just going to solo the snare and listen to it. And I want the room note or the room sound to be soloed with the snare. But if you just solo the snare, it's going to you're only going to hear the dry snare. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that. Alright, so I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the only thing soloed was the dry sound of the snare. But when we command click on the snare room, and then now it's in solo safe mode, and when you play it now, it's going to have both the dry snare as well as the room sound. So, as you can tell, this could be really useful for your auxiliary tracks or something like that. Say you're sending 4 guitar tracks to one auxiliary track, and you're mixing them all down into a stereo aux channel. If you solo one of your guitar tracks and your auxiliary track is not solo safed, then you're gonna get nothing. But if you solo safe that auxiliary track that your guitar tracks are going to, you can separate each one of the guitar tracks and hear each one of them individually. So that's a really useful tip inside of Pro Tools. So we'll see you next week on another episode of Limitless Studios TV.